try to avoid the word speech because I hate giving speeches. But I like to give them, I like to call them talks. This is my son Braden Speed. And my dear wife, printed that this morning and put it on a waterproof protector just to make sure that it didn't get smeared. And so forgive me, guys, if my voice shakes, my tears roll. It may happen. But I think that my talk has something to do with everybody here. And I can't thank you enough for being here. Our son Braden was born May 9th, 2000. He was a perfect and beautiful creation. Braden was strong in every way, physically, mentally, spiritually, and relationally. Through several relocations, our family had to find and reform relationships several times during Braden's early development. Relocation benefits don't include help for families to get plugged into schools, churches, and friends. As adults, most of us adapt pretty well, but sometimes our kids don't adjust as easily. Braden was a deeply relational kid, and too often, playgroups and other social networks had already solidified long before he arrived. So we found ourselves struggling more than most with social connection. People don't mean to exclude others, but we began to experience an increasing trend where social opportunities were failing. Over time, not finding our place, self-confidence can begin to wane, and that can eventually become a downward spiral. We ultimately moved here to Prosper while Braden was in junior high. And then just as he was making that transition to high school, a new thing called social media came around, entered the picture. You know that one where people connect, but they really never connect? Remember, I told you that this boy was very relational. Our one true friend was what he sought. This mix of circumstances became the recipe for isolation and depression. If you've had a kid who struggles socially, it's difficult, if not impossible, to force things to gel for your children. So when it doesn't happen organically, close and deep relationships cannot be manufactured. We watched while our son's bright eyes began to dim as he lost hope for connection over the high school years. With every effort, on October 30th, 2018, he decided to leave in hopes of finding what he believed had to be a better place. Our family's confident he's there today and that we will reunite. But the pain of losing him, even for temporary, is just a little less than what we can manage. Still, we move forward in hope that others may be helped from a similar loss. We're forever suicide loss survivors, and that's why I came here to talk today. Just 4 days after we lost Braden, we held his memorial service that afternoon. That morning was when I joined this annual event for the very first time. It was here that I first met other loss survivors. Like Wendy and Bruce Tyler, they had lost their son Christian, who was also from Prosper. Here I learned that Braden had been the fourth student to take their life in as many years from our area. The Tylers had not been okay to just let things go without doing something to help others. They'd been working to bring a Utah-based suicide awareness prevention program that Wendy had known about to our local school district. This program was appropriately called Hope Squad. That's the history of Hope Squad. I'm sure you've read and heard about it. Thank you for being here. In our experience, this peer-driven, culture-changing program fit like a custom-fit glove, and I was fortunate to join her along up with other Prosper ISD administrators, including Superintendent Holly Ferguson, and numerous teachers, counselors, principals, and coaches, all eager to find help and hope for our school and our community. This was 6 years ago, and now Hope Squad is active in every school, at every level in our district. Really, words can't express my gratitude. On my first walk here in November 2018, and along our walk since that day, our family has met so many other devastated loss survivors and families impacted by suicide just in our area alone. Although most were once complete strangers to us, we now consider many to be our extended family. One of those is Jessica Bunn, who has invited us here today. I thought, what do I say to a crowd like this when we have the chance to speak to small crowds, youth groups at churches, even some community business groups? This one's very different because we've all experienced the same thing. Many of those had just been talking about it, talking around it. So I'm a person who needs practical help. When I need it, I listen to it, I do YouTube, I do whatever I can to figure out how to fix something. And I don't offer platitudes here, I offer a couple of practical helps. I thought that might be a benefit. Maybe a little encouragement to those who have experienced it recently or in the years past. Maybe a little hope. An offer of help. Well, I make an hour-long commute almost every day after pandemic to Richardson, which is a long time to be alone. And oftentimes I'll fill that time listening to books on tape, music, and podcasts. Well, the week just before Jessica invited me here, I just so happened to stumble onto a podcast by the name of The Sinking of the Titanic. Now, I had heard that story 1,000 times, as most of all of us had done, and I took my wife to the movie when it opened. That's before you guys were born. Had a first date, blind date. Took her to the Titanic, of all things. Well, here I am listening to this thing for 3 hours again. I've heard every detail of this story. But somehow this time it just sank in differently. I heard some different details that I'd heard, and I thought that some of those things might ring familiar with us here. What was unique about this shipwreck? After all, through the ages, thousands of ships have gone down the North Atlantic in ice fields. It begs the question, why wasn't this one forgotten? I think I might know a couple reasons. This particular ship, you see, was created with one goal: to never sink. In fact, it was even hyped by every newspaper of that day as unsinkable. Everyone aboard trusted their lives to it. Some invested fortunes in it. Still others carried their lives savings aboard it. Many tied their family's future's hopes on it, taking them toward their dreams. Every single passenger fully expected that beautiful creation would be what they believed it to be: unsinkable. So-called experts knew that there might be trouble ahead. Several even had warning signs. The latest technology was used to communicate distress. Some listened, tried to help. Others got tired of hearing the buzz and they shut down communications, thinking the worst would never happen. Heck, even if it did, they couldn't do anything about it. It's interesting to me to learn the stories of people who survived. Some people who made it to the few lifeboats available chose to frantically row away to avoid the risk of being taken under by the vacuum left when that awesome and beautiful creation vanished. However, a few brave people chose instead to row towards those desperately needing help. I believe we still talk or think about what happened that cold, dark night over 100 years ago, because no matter all the planning and effort, no matter what people did to make sure that ship wouldn't make it and that it wouldn't sink, it still did. The second most important reason it remains in our memory is not just those who were lost, but more importantly, those who remained behind to tell their experience. This willingness to help provided valuable information and insights necessary so others would be less likely to experience their same fate. Lifeboat standards were changed. They even require enough lifeboats now so that everybody gets to live. Distress signal technology was improved. Distress calls were prohibited from being ignored at any hour, no matter when the call came. Bruce and Wendy Tyler, and each of those who had lost their boys before ours, didn't just roll away. They didn't try to forget what happened. They chose to stay and help others like our family. And I give thanks every single day for willing people like them, and too many others to name. People who chose to stay and offer help to walk us through a very dark time. In 2019, we decided to follow the example of others and join the effort to help by launching a nonprofit we call Braden's Voice. It's just another offer to help someone struggling. Through Braden's Voice, we've met several people who had attempted to end their own lives, but they survived and have gone on to live healthy lives. These individuals are most certainly survivors, but we've also come to realize the families, friends, and those left behind are also lost survivors. From this perspective today, I see so many of you. I see everyone. When I first stepped into this park 6 years ago, alone and crying, I would never have believed I would say to this day that I am grateful to count myself among these survivors, these lost survivors. On this day, hopefully we each have a mental list of those who have encouraged to help walk us toward a brighter day and out of this darkness. Our family's list include the following, and I'll try to get through this. The families of Christian Tyler. Never failing to remember Tyler. Chandler Blythe. His drumline's heart still beats loudly. Jesse Uriagas, shining a continuous light through his family and friends. Their light is the color of lime for a reason. Jake Meyer, his mom and dad, Carlin and Scott, have become great comfort to us. Scott literally limped his way here today to help support me. He busted his Achilles heel playing pickleball. The professional support pickleball. Isaac Craven, my newest friend. Jerry and Isaac's little brother are helping to make a difference and to help make sure the sky is high as it blue. Every neighbor, every community member, every church leader and church member who has prayed and stayed with us. I should also mention our son Braden Speed, his quiet yet bold sister Caitlin, and brave, strong mother Kathy. Through an idea which formed through our broken hearts, Braden's Voice serves mutual healing by doing whatever we can to help advance mental health by speaking openly and sharing some comfort and insight through our online blog. And a final word of encouragement. When we've lost someone who we love, even perhaps relied upon, when we've lost our beautiful, unsinkable ship, we all ask the same question: what happened? Most of us probably won't ever learn all the answers while we're in this world, but I submit today that maybe our question should be, what can I do to ensure it doesn't happen again? We each have been granted a clear purpose and mission. We have a special assignment that none of us wanted, but one we're compelled to at least consider. Every lost survivor here has a unique and personal experience, all your own. They're all different. Yet our stories share a horrific chapter. We've all lost a beautiful creation we never dreamed we could lose and never leave so soon. Today I want to encourage each one of you here to refuse to let the enemy win by allowing this terrible chapter to be the end of your story. We should never cease telling that story. We should make this day and every day along our life walk one more opportunity to be on the lookout, to keep our radars tuned in and our oars in the water. You see, because of what we've experienced, we're uniquely equipped to hear and see those quiet, subtle signs, and to be on the lookout for other beautiful creations around who may be sinking. They will now be easier to find in their darkness as long as we refuse to forget our own. That's the end of my speech. If anybody wants to know where my wife brought us all a necklace after we lost Braden, and I thought that's kind of neat, but what's that about? she shared a verse with us. But if you have any questions about what our anchor is in our storm, in our family, please ask me. And if you follow me, follow Braden's voice, walk behind me, read my shirt, you'll know where our anchor lies. We love every one of you. Thank you.